We are again, folks. We're going to go back into the chapter 19 of Acts, and we're going to back up and recap for a second. There were some folks, some silversmiths, that were making goddesses and making silver stuff and making shrines and making... This is why I don't like a sun hanging on my wall. And not that I don't like the sun. I love the sun. But there were sun worshipers, and there still are today. And I don't want to worship the sun and the moon and the stars. I want to worship the God that made the sun, the moon, and the stars. I don't want to worship the item, the product. I want to worship the designer and the builder of the product. And so we find here that not only those craftsmen that were in danger and set at naught, but also the temple of the great goddess Diana should be disposed, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipped. At that period of time, Diana was being worshipped. I got news for you today. She's still being worshipped. She's still being worshipped. You turn that television on and you look at that woman that they had do the football thing is a Diana. She has hundreds of thousands of people that would watch her. I would not watch a minute of her. If she's coming on, I'm not going to be around. I'm going to turn the TV. But I have seen, I shouldn't say I wouldn't watch her a minute because I had before, but I wouldn't watch her now a minute because I've seen what she portrays. She is a sexual goddess in this world today. She portrays free love, free sex, nakedness, do what you want to do, say what you want to say, anywhere, anytime, when you feel like it, and don't pay any attention to the people around you or who's around you. Just do what you want, whether you're in public or whether you're in private. It matters not. And because of that, that's what the Diana goddess was all about. She's a sexual goddess. And we have them today. More than one. I pointed out one. But there are 100 more just like her. And then there are thousands or more following, trying to be like her. And that nakedness will carry them somewhere, but it's not going to carry them somewhere where they're going to like it in the end. And when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath and cried out, saying, "Great is Diana of Ephesus, of the Ephesians." And the whole city was filled with confusion. And having caught Gaius and Aristarchus, men of Macedonia, Paul's companions in travel, they rushed with one accord into the theater. And when Paul would have entered in unto the people, the disciples suffered him not. And certain of the chiefs of Asia, which were his friends, sent unto him, desiring him that he would not adventure himself into the theater. Now, we're not talking about a movie theater. We're talking about the amphitheater. We're talking about a place with 30,000 people in it, where a great multitude is. Some therefore cried one thing, and some another, for assembly was confused, and the more part knew not whether they were come together. And they drew Alexander out of the multitude of the Jews, putting him forward. And Alexander beckoned with the hand, and would have made his defense unto the people. But when they knew that he was a Jew, all with one voice, about the space of 2 hours, cried out, "Great is Diana of Ephesus." The devil does not like being come against. He does not like a group to come against him. Why does he fight churches? Why does he fight churches? What is one thing he has done? I think my thinking probably stinks. It would be stinking thinking for me to say what I think sometimes, so I'm not going to say it. But the devil does work within the church. He does divide. He cuts and divides. He cuts and divides. He cuts and divides. If you took a pair of scissors and trimmed the tail of a fish, he couldn't swim. He's got those two little things on his tail. You cut those off, and that fish will just swim around in circles. He's got no direction. You cut the fin on the top of his back, you go ahead and cut it off, about that much of it, and the rascal can't stay straight up. He's going to roll over. Just keep rolling over. This is what the devil's been doing for years in the church. He's been trimming on the tail. He's been trimming on the fin. And he trims a little on the fin and the church gets a little off balance. He trims a little on the tail and the church can't go the way it's trying to go, supposed to go. The devil's shrewd. He doesn't just come in and slam you all at one time. He trims at you and he works at it and he works at it. And he's going to do his best to kill the church of Jesus Christ. And we're going to be, just before the coming of the Lord, we're going to be in a place where people will be screaming again, Diana. Diana. They already are. Football fields full of people screaming and hollering about this Diana up there swaying on a swing. Scantily dressed. Provocative. With ugly words. With anti-God words. And the people screaming whatever her name was. I don't know what it was. Don't want to know what it is. I just know that the devil is sending those type of women out here. And I don't want to degrade that particular woman's name. I would love to see her get saved. If she got saved, she would be different. Could you imagine her coming into a church building with a nice dress on, high heels, her hair done up, and looking right, and carrying a Bible and believing in Jesus Christ, and saying all that I did before was vanity and vexation, and I've been saved now and I'm going to follow God, and I'm going to be a new person? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine what that would do for the world today? Could you imagine how many followers that woman would probably have? That would say, if she can do it, we can do it. We can leave the devil behind. Do you know in Bible days, they wagged their tongues? They wagged their tongues. We had some groups come on that, of the devil that wagged their tongues, paint their faces. They do what everything was doing in Ephesus, like with Diana. Whatever was portrayed happened, and that's what's happening today in our culture. And when they heard these things saying, they were full of wrath and cried out, saying, Great is Diana of Ephesus. And the whole city was filled with confusion, and having caught Gaius and her, the men of Macedonia, Paul's companions, in the theater. And when Paul would have entered, he didn't. All right. Some therefore cried one thing, some another. Verse 35. And when the town clerk had appeased the people, he said, Ye men of Ephesus, what man is there, knowing not how that the city of Ephesus is a worshipper of the great goddess Diana, and of the image which fell down from Jupiter? Seeing then that this thing cannot be spoken against, ye ought to be quiet, and do nothing rashly. For ye have brought hither these men, which are neither robbers of the church, nor yet blasphemers of your goddess. Wherefore, If Demetrius, the craftsman, which are with him, have a matter against any man, the law is open, and there are deputies, let them implead one another. But if ye inquire anything concerning other matters, it shall be determined in the lawful assembly. For we are in danger to be called in question for this day's uproar, there being no cause whereby we may give an account of this concourse. And when he had thus spoken, he dismissed the assembly. What about that? Our time's come and gone. He dismissed the assembly. Let me tell you what. God stepped in through a physical man and stepped up and showed those people they did not have a right legally to do what they were doing. And that's the case today too. And I got news for you. The legal system has come against God's church today, and they do not have a right to do that. And God's going to reward them for it one day. We've got to go now. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.